Hello and welcome back to the video on the Wrestlers Wait into another edition of Raw out of 10. And believe it or not, we're at the go home show before SummerSlam. The build-up's been mixed as it always has been with Raw. But yeah, there's some really good matches coming up on the card, and I'm still really looking forward to things. So let's see how the go home show gets on. Randy Orton kicked off Raw and said he didn't know anything, and that he would have won last week with a match against AJ Styles with or without Riddle's help. He promised to take Omos down tonight without Riddle. Orton wasn't too happy to see Riddle when he came out and said that Randy hit him with an RKO to teach him the proper way to use the move. The original Bro said that he had learned his lesson and asked Randy if they could bring back RK Bro. AJ and Omos walked out before Orton could answer, and they were taunting Randy. AJ said that Omos would take up the Viper tonight. Styles then challenged Riddle to a match right away, and Riddle agreed. Randy walked out as the match began, and the distraction caused Riddle to be taken down. Styles went outside, and Riddle bounced his head off the apron and hit a running kick to the outside. After a break, Riddle hit a German suplex, countering the Styles clash. AJ then locked in the calf crusher, and Riddle barely reached the bottom rope. Riddle was setting up for a floating Bro, but Omos distracted him at ringside before AJ took him down and hit the Styles clash for the win. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed this start to Raw, to be honest. It was fast paced, decent match, and RK Bro is just great. Riddle was backstage from Raw and said he hasn't given up on RK Bro for so long, but Randy deserting him today made him very sad. Before Nikki Ash vs Rhea Ripley was next, Charlotte came on Raw and joined the commentary team as Ripley was tossing Nikki around the ring before the champs ended her outside. Back after a break, Nikki hit a tornado DDT and got a near fall. Nikki was trying to toss Ripley along the ring. Ripley hit a huge big boot, however, and got the Riptide for the easy win. Nikki was devastated after her loss and decided to unload on Charlotte at ringside. Nikki dragged Flair to the ring where Ripley joined in on the attack as well before Charlotte managed to flee as Raw continued. This gets a 5 out of 10 from me. It was just so easy for Nikki Cross to lose. She's the bloody champion. Yeah, it just made that title look like a joke. Before we got Drew McIntyre versus Veer and Shanky. Veer was the first one in the ring and Drew was already knocking him around and was in total control. Veer was back in and Drew took him down with a clothesline. Shanky came back in and took a Michinoku driver. Veer took a Future Shock DDT before Drew hit the Claymore on Shanky for the win. Veer then went after Drew's sword after the match, but McIntyre took him out, hitting him with a suplex. Drew got on the mic to mock Jinder and his goons as they promised to humiliate him at SummerSlam. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Yeah, it's basically just what we've seen over and over again. It didn't really do much for me at all, if I'm being perfectly honest. And yeah, I'm kind of just looking forward to this storyline being over. Before Charlotte was backstage and was furious about Nikki's attack, Sonya Deville told her that most she could do was offer her a tag match if Flair could get a partner sorted. Before John Morrison was out next to host the first ever Moist TV. Get it? John said that he hadn't spoken to The Miz in a week and wanted to know how he managed to get off his wheelchair and walk last week. The Miz danced his way to the ring. John asked if he was pretending to be handicapped for so long, and the A-lister was denying it before Damian Priest came out, and then he had The Miz and Morrison on strings. Before John Morrison proposed a match between Damian Priest and The Miz, and that's exactly what we got. Sheamus was out to watch the match at ringside, and The Miz ran out of the ring right away. Miz pretended to be hurt before unloading on Priest to get in control. However, The Miz made a crucial slip up, and it allowed Priest to take advantage by hitting a clothesline and the Bro kick for the win. Yeah, 5 out of 10 from me. Yeah, this whole Miz stuff, we've just seen it so many times before. It didn't really put Damian Priest either, and Sheamus got on the mic at the end of the segment and called Priest a disrespectful shitbag before saying that he would kick his face off at SummerSlam. Yeah, 5 out of 10. That didn't really do anything to change my opinion, to be honest. Backstage, Eva Marie wanted to solve their Elixir Bliss problems and told Doudrop to snatch Lily away from her. Elsewhere in the arena, Morrison said he felt betrayed by The Miz and they wanted them to be friends again, and they duly agreed. Alexa Bliss was making fun of Evolution at her playground before Doudrop came in and tried to take Lily away. Alexa warned her not to do that, and Doudrop looked at the doll before her expression changed to terror and she handed the doll back before we got Mansour versus Mace. Mace unloaded on Mansour as the match began, and hit a huge slam before locking in a submission move. Mace tried to hit Mansour with a sunset flip, but a distraction from Ali allowed Mansour to pin Mace and get the easy win. On the other, it's a 4 out of 10. Yeah, this was just basically the same old stuff that we've seen over and over again. A bit like the prior 2 backstage segments. Just come on, find something new, to be honest. Backstage on Raw, AJ called himself the Moron Killer for beating Riddle and Omos and claimed he would become the new Legend Killer after beating Orton before we got Randy and Omos together. Randy and Omos stared at each other. Randy went for the RKO, but right away the Giant blocked it. Omos was able to counter it and went to the corner as Orton sidestepped twice. And Omos was just being absolutely dominant before he sent Randy to the outside, but AJ kicked Orton and it caused a disqualification. AJ took Randy down after the disqualification, sent him in the ring. They set Orton up before Riddle ran down and just cleared the house, and then suddenly Riddle helped Orton back up to his feet and Riddle saved him. He earned the Viper's respect, and RK Bro is back, and they will challenge AJ and Omos at SummerSlam. A story with a happy ending. Don't you just love to see it? But in all seriousness, yeah, that was great, actually. Omos just going over like a monster, and finally getting RK Bro back is exactly what everyone wanted, I think. Up on Raw, it was Karrion Kross versus Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy was on a backstage interview where Kross attacked him and took him out before the match began, and then Jeff started off strong despite his injuries and hit a double leg drop. However, it didn't last long. Hardy looked to end things quick and tried for the twist of fate, but got caught by Kross in a submission move. Karrion locked in the Kross jacket, making Jeff pass out and earning the victory very quickly. 5 out of 10. Yeah, at least Kross got the win and it was easy. But yeah, it's just still not convincing me that Kross is like a massive monster or whatever. I just don't know. It's just not really clicking for me. Before Eva Marie was annoyed with Doudrop for failing to get a doll from Alexa before she slapped her in the face and walked out. Poor Doudrop. Before Reginald was at the park where he learned his acrobatic skills. When R-Truth and Akira turned out, Reggie flipped over them and was okay. Before we got the Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH versus Charlotte and Nia Jax match. Nia and Nikki kicked off the match and Jax knocked the Raw Women's Champion out. Charlotte tagged in and hit a big boot before we headed to the break. Back in the ring, Nikki hit a DDT and tagged in Ripley before she unloaded on Flair. Ripley hit a drop kick and was in control before Jax tagged in and managed to hit a Samoan drop. Jax was annoyed as Charlotte came in as she was wiping out the opposition before hitting natural selection on Nikki to get the win. Once again, the champion being pinned. Yeah, kind of cheesed me off. 5 out of 10. Before AJ Styles was backstage and said that he would beat that he and Omos were going to retain their titles. Before Goldberg was out next and he was with talking about how Lashley and MVP were going to win. He spoke to his son, who's witnessed the real Goldberg, and said that MVP and Lashley weren't going to beat him. Before they walked out, the almighty Val ended his career on Sunday, and Goldberg told him it was bullshit. Lashley swung at Goldberg, but was taken down with a spear as the Hall of Famer walked out with his son. Yeah, basically what you want from the final segment before a pay-per-view. Put Goldberg over, even though he'll be in defeat, and made him look like a serious threat. Overall, Raw this week gets a 5 out of 10 from me. It was a very, well, I don't really know how to describe this Raw, to be honest. It was good in parts. There were some bits that were actually a lot better than the usual Raw is, but most of it just dragged like most Raws. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, remember your thoughts, comments down below, to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel and screen around, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. Peace!